Hello everyone, I'm Kana Taku. I usually get inquiry emails about PTG or post-traumatic growth a few times a week. Most of them are about gaining access to the Japanese translated version of several skills I published, such as PTG Inventory Extended Version, Post-Traumatic Growth and Depreciation Inventory, that is PTGDIX, the short form, Kids PTG Inventory, Core Beliefs Inventory, and Event-Related Rumination Inventory. But the second most common inquiry is about the differences or relationships between resilience and PTG. Some people are curious to know if they are one and the same, since they are both about recovery from trauma. And if not, how are they different from each other? So I wanted to put my thoughts together to answer this question before leaving for Japan to spend summer over there. Resiliency was originally defined as the ability to quickly recover from stress, like a springboard back to starting position. This ability or personality trait is commonly observed in people who do well even when they grow up in harsh or unpredictable environments, and also people who experience trauma later in life. Highly resilient individuals recover from stress by using a versatile set of cognitive and social resources, whereas less resilient individuals are vulnerable and show little adaptive flexibility. On the other hand, PTG refers to transformative change for personal growth following struggle with adversity. These differences in the definitions lead to one common way of defining resiliency as the ability to come back the baseline, while PTG goes beyond the baseline. We see this kind of distinction in many literatures such as Chen Jilin 2017. However, compared to PTG, resiliency has a longer history and has received way more attention by researchers and clinicians. So this spread has led to the definitions of resiliency to become more diverse and more under debate. Some researchers look at the resiliency as a lack of PTSD symptoms, even when they experience a highly traumatic life event. But others look at the resiliency as positive, flexible, and dynamic adaptation process after adversity. And if we go with that, I can totally understand there are some overlapping features between resilience and PTG. After all, it is not rare for people who experience PTG become more resilient. And yet, I believe it is important to focus on the differences instead and pay more attention to that shaded area that shows people who may experience PTG with no resilient characteristics. I have 3 reasons for that. Number 1, I can say resiliency is a safeguard against PTSD symptoms, and that's great. But PTG occurs alongside PTSD symptoms. Stress symptoms are typically under control and low in people with resiliency because they know how to use resources to effectively handle them. On the other hand, stress symptoms may coexist in PTG because suffering never stops for some people who did experience a trauma, even when they experience personal growth. So people in the shaded area do need support. Number 2, thanks to the overwhelming amount of studies, we have a pretty good understanding of what kind of characteristics are likely to predict resiliency, such as good social support, coping skills, and positive personality traits, like optimism, openness, flexibility, and mindfulness. On the other hand, we haven't quite established such robust findings of personality traits to predict PTG, since it is mainly due to the psychological struggle and the cognitive processing utilized after trauma that always show much stronger effect. Surely, highly optimistic people may consider themselves to have grown when they experience trauma, and that is the overlapping green area. But not everybody who experiences PTG has such positive personality traits or good coping skills. We can and should learn from those in the shaded area who may experience growth without having such positive resources. Number 3, studies that investigate the direct relationships between resilience and PTG are inconsistent at best. Some studies show no correlation, whereas others show some positive correlation. Yeah, there are some overlap, but the shaded area is not that small. There are people who experience PTG without having such a positive and healthy qualities that highly resilient people typically have. So, I would say anybody who is interested in studying PTG should concentrate on people in the shaded area, that is, people who may experience PTG without showing signs of being resilient. I mean, resiliency is a much larger category as it is necessary for humans to survive in this world. We don't want to be defeated, we want to recover as quick as possible. So it is absolutely necessary to study resiliency, no doubt about that. But that's why society would probably encourage people towards resiliency. But I don't believe everybody has to fall under this idealized category. I do believe there should be a way to live without being resilient. And for this smaller group of people who are not necessarily resilient, PTG may be one of the only options that are available for their lives. And I think this is the group who needs more attention and who we should listen to. Well, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.